Welcome to the channel. In this video, we're going to take a look at Community Report 85 for Workers and Resources Soviet Republic. This was published on the 17th of October 2023. It's a nice, short, straight to the point community report. So we might as well just jump straight in and get down to it. It says, "Greetings, dear comrades of the Soviet Republic and fans of the game from around the globe. The winds of change are blowing, just like the memories of the Soviet era, iconic designs and ways of life. Our game is continuously evolving." So I'm just not going to look at the picture. We'll just go straight down to the next paragraph. It says, "Remember when we started with just a few types of residential buildings? Well, we've come a long way. Now it's time for a little sprucing up. We're refreshing the visuals on our older residential buildings to blend in seamlessly with our latest graphical and gameplay updates. Oh, but don't worry, our cathedrals are next on the list for a graphical makeover." So we'll just take a quick look at the picture. So this looks like the old, well, I think they're called old houses. And I must admit, they were a bit bland in uniform, and these actually make them look quite useful, actually. I've actually quite liked this layout. And it's one of the reasons why I don't tend to use the old houses that much, because they do look a bit kind of bland, slightly out of focus. If they look like this, I think I'll be quite happy to start using them again, especially on an early start, because these kind of fit more with what you'd call a 1900, 1910 house. So we just move down. I think we got a picture here. I'm not sure if this is I think is a wider view of the picture. I'm not sure. I don't think the cathedral has been updated, although it's got some white spires on the top. But I mean, I think this is quite a good example of what you could say is an old town, and something that definitely you would build on an early start, because you've got the bigger houses close to the cathedral and then these smaller houses around the outside, with the occasional building that would drop in to provide the facilities. The only thing I would say is that one of the problems with early starts is the lack of some of the what you'd call necessary requirements, such as waste disposal and water, but that's way beyond the scope of this community report. So let's just move down to the next paragraph. It says, "Now let us roll out the red carpet for some new neighbours. Massive thank you to comrades Billman007 and Schottky. Select buildings from their awesome Type 95 residential designs will be part of our in-game collection." I think what I'll do is I'll just read down through these two small paragraphs, then we'll come back and look at the pictures. It says, "They fine-tuned their original mods for a perfect fit within the game, although not all variants will make the cut into the official lineup. Don't think we forgot about the Type LG0600A buildings, better known as the Brezhivka. They're also joining the neighborhood, and trust us, they are both high quality and stunning to look at." So let's just have a look at these pictures. I actually quite like, I like the slightly curved building there. I think it's got a bit more detail on it as well. Some of the kind of square blocks as well, I probably would use them. I think they're actually starting to look quite good, actually. And then I think this is a close-up of them. Yeah, you can see more detail now of the balconies and all that. Yeah, I've got pretty starting to like them, actually. And then we're going to go down to, these are a little bit more uniform and bland, but I like maybe potentially the big block at the back. Could use that, and the tower blocks there. In fact, there's quite a nice range of buildings here to which you could build a mixed, almost uniform Soviet type style town, because of course one of the characteristics I think of Soviet style towns is that you do have these rows of uniform blocks, but then that was very much the product of the late 50s 60s. Even here in the UK, if you look at some of the states that were built in the 60s, they had that very uniform kind of look to them. Maybe it was just a design trend of the period. And I think this is just another view with the other blocks in the background there. It's also interesting to see that you've got the new footpaths, connecting them up with the asphalt footpaths. I think on just in this corner here, you've actually got illuminated footpaths. And I have to admit, I'm becoming a complete convert to asphalt footpaths. They certainly increase the scope of the layout of the towns which you build. So let's just get down to the final paragraphs. It says, "Now let us get to the specifics. We're revising both the cost and quality of living for all residential buildings. The new pricing structure aligns with what you're getting. Early game brick buildings will cost a bit more per apartment, while larger prefab options often a more cost-effective space per flat. Now, what I would say from that is that would give you an encouragement to research the using prefabs to build buildings if you've got a higher cost for building bricks. That would also drive the incentive to possibly becoming self-sufficient in bricks as well. We're also getting real about building sizes. Some buildings will now house fewer flats due to their smaller footprints, while others with more floors and space will offer more living space. It's all about achieving a more realistic and balancing game environment. Again, that paragraph is kind of trying to address one of the contradictions that you've got quite large looking buildings that have very small populations, and you have quite small buildings which have large populations. In fact, you've got one or two flats, especially in the modded side, which are very small, and they've got a kind of residential population of workers of 200 to 300. So I can understand the thinking behind that. So moving down to the next paragraph, it says there's something you should know. We're phasing out some older models, especially those we acquired from Turbo Squid that didn't quite fit the bill. If you've already built them in your game, don't worry, they stay put. But until you decide to bring in a Wrecking Ball. However, these models will no longer be available for new constructions from the build menu. Interesting. That I'll be honest, wouldn't know if I've actually used those buildings, but that's a possibility that could cause a few problems when the next update drops. So just moving down, it says, we know that this update might not be the fireworks show that you hope for, but it is the little things that count. These changes will streamline your in-game planning and improve the lives of your virtual citizens. Let's face it, who doesn't want their republic to look more fabulous? And that's the news for today. Keep on enjoying life and stay tuned for the more updates down the line. A big thank you for your continued support and feedback. Helps us make the game better in every day. I do agree with that sentiment in the sense that I must admit, well, if any of you follow my series, you know I tend to be a bit more focused on historic buildings, partly for some of the issues they've actually addressed in this report. I find that the in-game buildings and quite a lot of mods make the cities look really bland with no character. And it's really good to see that the devs are taking this on board. And I must admit, I might be a bit more inclined to build more modern-looking cities going forward. In fact, it'd be quite interesting to be able to show the involvement by building historic towns and kind of then 1950s, 1960s towns and then future towns as well. Anyway, that is the end of this community report. Any comments, opinions, feel free to chuck it in the video description. And until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.